Welcome to episode 3, where we find out if you're being sold on the dark web. Hey everyone, it's Linda Faucus from Glue Society. I'm the founder of Glue Society. We're a Canadian nonprofit that's helping thousands of older adults figure out how to secure their digital lives. And that's because digital security is a very big deal. You need to learn how to lock your digital doors so that you are less likely to be a cybercrime statistic. And I've said it a few times in each episode before this one, but it's not as hard as you might think. It's important that you know about the dark web and how it affects you. This will help protect you from risks like account takeover, identity theft, and more, topics that we get into later in this series. Now, cybercriminals use the dark web to sell stolen data to anybody who wants it, and there are a lot of people who want it. Hacking as a service is big business on the dark web, and hacking as a service is sort of like ordering off of a menu. This means that any budding cybercriminals don't need to be genius hackers today. Almost anyone with a computer can use these hacking services to easily get to work stealing our data. More of us are online, and the tools to hack into our digital lives are easier to get than ever before. Stats are showing a 75% spike in daily cybercrime since the start of the pandemic. Experts believe this is one of the reasons cybercrime is on the rise. It's a perfect storm for those who are not protected. But that will not be you after you've completed this series. Together, we are going to make you unscammable. Our data gets on the dark web in a few ways. Cybercriminals can steal it through different scams, mostly using email scams, text message scams, and phone calls, those annoying phone calls that some of us are still falling for. These are some of the ways that malware and viruses can end up on our computers and other devices. Once they're on our devices, malware and viruses help cybercriminals steal our data, or they can lock our devices and demand a ransom payment to get them unlocked. That's called ransomware, and it's on the rise big time. We're going to cover that later in the series. Now, cybercriminals also steal the data we make public on social media websites, for instance, and other places on the web we put our information. We may know this information is public, but what you probably don't expect is that hackers are using automated tools to take our information that is public and sell it. In 2021, a hacker gathered the records of 700 million LinkedIn users and sold them for $5,000. This is a common incident. Another way our data gets on the dark web is when hackers break into a website. That's called a data breach. They steal names, passwords, email addresses, maybe phone numbers or credit card details, whatever's been put on that website. There can even be answers to security questions on there. So the last 2 years have been some of the worst for cybercrime, and many of us have been victims of some of the major data breaches at Facebook, Marriott Hotels, Microsoft, LinkedIn, and so many more smaller breaches that didn't even make the news. The numbers are really, really mind-boggling. Once the cybercriminals have our data, an easy way for them to make money is to sell it on the dark web to other cybercriminals. And it turns out that cybercriminals all have different jobs. Some of them steal data to repackage it and sell it to others. Some steal data to create fake credit cards and sell those. And some are willing to take the risk to use those fake credit cards to buy real goods. There's many other roles that cybercriminals play, but that gives you the idea. There are many job titles involved in this data theft loop. Some cybercriminal organizations are run like legitimate businesses. They have HR departments and marketing departments. And the office these people go to is the dark web. Over 80% of us don't know what the dark web is, but it's important that you understand what it is so you can learn how to keep your data protected. Let's start by looking at the World Wide Web, just called the web today. An easy way to imagine the web is by thinking of an iceberg. Now, the top of the iceberg represents the surface web. This is where about 5% of web activity happens, where we spend most of our time online. It's the part of the web that search engines can see, and that means when you do a search using Google, for instance, Google can only search the surface web for you. All those search results you see are only coming from the surface web, that tip of the iceberg. Now go down just below the water to the hidden part of the iceberg. The majority of this part of the web is called the deep web, and it represents about 90% of all web activity. You are on the deep web when you use email or you view files and photos that are stored on the cloud. Search engines can't see what's on the deep web. That means you can't do a Google search to find an email you sent, for instance. That's because your emails live on the deep web, and they are hidden from search engines like Google. Thank goodness for that. Now go down to the very bottom of this iceberg. This is what we call the dark web, and it represents about 5% of all the activity on the World Wide Web. The dark web is hidden from search engines, and you need a special browser to view what's there. On the dark web, you can be totally anonymous, and your activity is hidden. But the dark web's not all bad. It was actually developed in the late 90s by the U.S. Department of Defense as a way to protect spy communications. The idea changed to become part of the web that protects the anonymity of people who need it, such as human rights activists, privacy activists, whistleblowers, and people living under oppressive regimes that block large parts of the internet from its citizens. There needs to be a safe way for these people on the web to communicate, and the dark web makes that possible. Today, many legitimate organizations have a hidden website on the dark web. This list includes nearly every major newspaper and even Facebook. The least anonymous website in the world, Facebook, has been on the most anonymous network in the world since about 2014. Facebook on the dark web allows users to protect their identities from people and governments who don't want them using the social media platform. The sad reality of the dark web is that by offering some extreme privacy and protection from surveillance to the people who really need it, we've created a thriving illegal underground marketplace. Because of this anonymity, cybercriminals can use the dark web to safely traffic in drugs, weapons, pornography, and lots of other horrible things I don't want to imagine. And this is where most of our stolen data goes to be sold and used to set up new accounts using our personal information, to steal our identities, and more. This step is to be aware of your PII and be thoughtful about where you share it. PII is a hot commodity, and it can be used to identify someone or confirm someone's identity. Your PII can be pieced together through a combination of data to directly identify you. So here's a partial list of PII. Your full name, a driver's license, your mailing address, credit card information, passport information, financial information, or medical records. To protect your PII, ask yourself, does that online game need your postal code? Is your real mailing address required? Do you need to provide your full name? Be careful of where you share your PII. In the show notes for this episode, you will find a complete list of the PII that can be used to identify you. I've also included some additional PII information and a description of non-PII. You can download this list using the link or the QR code at the end of the show. This is a big step in taking control of your digital security. It's important to know if your data is being sold on the dark web, because if it is, you want to watch episodes 4 and 5, but get through this episode first. Throughout this series, I'm going to show you the next steps you need to take to protect yourself. But before we begin, please don't get too stressed out if you find out your data has been stolen and are being seen by cybercriminals. It's only a matter of time for all of us. That's the reality of living a digital life. Now, if you're tempted to pull back on using technology to protect yourself, that strategy is not going to work anymore. Anyone on the planet, whether they have a digital footprint or not, is a target for cyber criminals. For instance, a photo of your passport, even taken from over your shoulder, gives someone a lot of your PII. So be aware of who can see your passport when you're traveling, for sure. And for example, improperly disposing of printed documents, such as bills or bank statements, are a very popular way for our information to get stolen. So consider getting a shredder, or think about taking advantage of any local shredding events that might be happening. You could ask your local library if they are hosting one. These are two ways your data can get into the hands of cyber criminals, and neither of them require you to have any online accounts. Much of our lives are being moved online as governments and companies modernize their operations. This means it will become almost impossible not to have a digital footprint of some kind. Your best bet to stay safe in today's world, no matter how big your digital footprint is to learn how to protect your data and know if your data are being sold on the dark web. Okay, here's what to do to find out if your data have been seen on the dark web. I suggest you watch the rest of this episode before you dive into this next step. It's important that you know all the next steps to take after you find out the information you need here. Here's the website you're going to use. Go to haveibeenpwned.com. I'm including this link at the end of the episode and a QR code to quickly link you over to this website. That's also at the end of the episode. This is a website you can trust. It was created by Troy Hunt. He's a web security expert from Australia. This site gathers information from data breaches, and most of it ends up on the dark web to be sold to other cyber criminals. You can use this website to safely see if your email address has been part of a data breach somewhere on the web. Now, don't worry, any information that you enter on this site is protected. It can't be stolen from you. Your email address is not being stolen if you enter it here. If you have more than one email address, even an old email address you no longer use, check it out as well. I've been sending our Glue community over to this website for years, and the site keeps getting better and better. If you haven't checked out your data on this site in a while, it's worth visiting again. And if you're wondering what pwned means, pwned is a word that means that you've been defeated by an opponent. It's pronounced owned or pwned, and it's thought to originate from a typo. It's very popular in the gaming world. If you are on this site and you enter your email address and you see a green box, congratulations, your email address or phone number was not included in any data breached accounts that this site is tracking. But keep in mind that this site can't track 100% of the breaches that happen. Now, if you get the red box, that means your email address has been part of a data breach and is most likely been seen by cyber criminals on the dark web. So scroll down on that red box to see what breaches you were pwned in or you were part of. And you can check in the compromised data section to see the data that were stolen. I've included an online account tracker in the show notes to this episode to help you record this information. Now, if you see a red box, the next thing you should do is log into all those accounts that your email address was stolen from and change your account password. Make a note of any passwords you change and keep track of all the accounts you've updated using the online account tracker. The final step in this episode is to start keeping an inventory of all your online accounts and email addresses and create a list of all the data breaches you have been part of. It's important you have a record of every online account you have opened. We're going to get into detail about this in episode 10, but you can get started tracking your online accounts now. No matter what the results were from your dark web search on the Have I Been Pwned website, you should make monitoring your email addresses on the dark web a regular thing. It's something we should all do, no matter how big our digital footprint is. This is a crucial step in securing our digital lives. Step 1, know what the dark web is so you can understand how important it is to secure your digital life. Step 2, know what your personally identifiable information is to protect your PII. Download the PII info sheet included in the show notes and for more information about PII. Step 3, use the Have I Been Pwned website to see if your email addresses have been part of any data breach so you know what next steps you have to take to protect yourself. Step 4, download the online account tracker to keep track of all your online accounts, which ones were hacked, and which ones you need to change passwords on. Once your data are on the dark web, there is nothing you can do about it. You might see ads that promise to help you remove it from the dark web, but definitely don't take them up on it. That is a scam. We want to keep you safe from cyber criminals, and having you walk into their hands is not a good plan. Now I'm going to stop here. I'm guessing you're probably ready to get over to the Have I Been Pwned website, if you're not already there, to check out your email addresses. Just a reminder, episode 4 is all about managing your passwords securely, a critical step in securing your online accounts. And in episode 5, we look at email and how to manage it securely, which is especially important for all of us and a must-see if you find your email address has been sold on the dark web. So well done, you've taken a huge step in securing your digital life. You are now smarter than most people online. According to a recent study, over 83% of us don't even have a clue if our data is being seen by cyber criminals. If you go through the steps in this episode, that is not going to be you. And the steps in the next 2 episodes show you how to protect yourself. So we'll see you next time for more about passwords.